people say, well, if you're black and you get pulled over, you're doing nothing wrong. If the cops find out that you're doing nothing wrong, they would just let you go. There will be no issue. All you have to do is comply with their demands. And once they find out that you're not the guy, they let you go because they need to proceed to do their job. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring your attention to Las Vegas, where literally a black male was pulled over, guns drawn. They had like a whole damn SWAT team behind him, and it was the wrong guy. But they knew it was the wrong guy. They started to communicate with each other. We have the wrong guy. But did that stop them from having their weapons drawn? No. Did that cause them to immediately apologize and go find the actual bad guy they were looking for? No. Did it cause them to change their demeanor and be nice to the individual who was an innocent civilian that got caught up in their wrong conclusion? No, they did none of that. They proceeded to arrest the guy, then check his vehicle, and I'm gonna tell you what that's about in a moment. So a TikTok appears to show Las Vegas police pulling over the wrong car, but still putting the driver in handcuffs. Two separate clips were posted in late June showing several police officers standing outside their cars with their sirens blaring, pointing their guns at another vehicle off screen. Alas, despite their error, they continue to instruct the driver to get out of the vehicle and walk slowly towards them. They tell him to settle down, to which he says, "You've got guns on me. What the F do you mean settle down? That's my house right there." They soon put handcuffs on this man, on him, while officers decided to check his van. Now remember, they know this is not the right guy they're looking for. Despite knowing it isn't the car, before seeming to ask him to apologize to them in return for them saying sorry for their error, "Just get me out of these cuffs and let me go about my day, please and thank you," he says before he's let go. I got that video. Here it is.
Take your seatbelt off and open the door. Hey, what? Hey, man. Don't go reaching for nothing here. Man, stay over there. Just get back. Okay, back.
The man is yelling, "This is my house," and he's literally pointing to a house that everyone can see. He has to be terrified. I know if I was in that situation, I would be terrified and horrified. You have guns drawn at you. They are pointed in your direction. You have all of these white men yelling at you, and you have done absolutely nothing illegal, nothing wrong, and nobody will tell you what's happening. Well, in all of that confusion, these cops started to say among themselves, "We got the wrong person. We got the wrong guy." But that did not stop them from proceeding to arrest the wrong guy, put him in handcuffs, and then deciding to just check his vehicle. Now, let me tell you why they did that. They did that because it would have justified their mistake if they found something. That's why they did that. They wanted to continue to act as if, hey, this is still a bad guy, and even though we made a mistake in this conclusion, he's a bad guy, so we're going to get him off the street. It was the same philosophy they used against Saddam Hussein, by the way. Oh, they're weapons of mass destruction. Whoa, no weapons of mass destruction, but he's still a bad guy, and we still have to do this thing to him. Here's what ended up happening. They do apologize as they are taking the cuffs off of him. Damn your apology. You should not have arrested him in the first place. Damn your sentiment at this moment. You knew you had the wrong guy when your guns were aimed at him. Adrienne, welcome to Indisputable. You are an attorney. I have to understand, how is it that every police officer knew by radio communication they had the wrong person and they were still able to put him in handcuffs, check his vehicle? How can they do that?
Well, the question is, how can they do that lawfully? What the police are going to say is that it wasn't an actual long-term arrest. It was merely a momentary detainment. Of course, you'd say, hey, well, they put him in handcuffs. So clearly there has to be a Fourth Amendment violation there somewhere. And I would arguably say that there is definitely something that's being communicated here that says we are going to deprive you of your civil rights. Once we realized that there was an error, we should have stopped and retreated. But instead, we decided to continue to denigrate you and make you feel lesser by now purporting to act as though we have probable cause to search your car. And I think a lot of people don't realize how scary, how upsetting, and it hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will and essentially treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. And this is something that Black people face no matter where they are. That kind of assumption of criminality, the fact that they feel it's okay to detain you even though you've done nothing wrong. And this is another example of that.
This unarmed Black male who did nothing illegal could be dead right now. He could be dead right now. If he would have been a little more argumentative, if he would have been more outraged than he already was. Hell, if he would have just turned around fast rather than walking backwards as they demanded, he may have been shot and killed. And this could have happened, Adrienne, ironically, with the cops having knowledge that he is not the person they are looking for. Now, I have another question, a legal question. If they would have found something in his vehicle, let's say some marijuana, would that have been considered a good arrest, meaning lawful, or bad arrest, meaning unlawful?
It depends on the arguments that the police made, because generally there's a doctrine that's called fruit of a poisonous tree that kind of suggests that if you get some fruit and it happened to come from a poisonous tree, then you can't use it. So in that case, evidence that you obtain through illegal means, then you can't use it in court. And so that would be something that this gentleman's attorneys would argue. But of course, the cops might say something of, well, we would have discovered it anyways. It wouldn't have mattered because we had probable cause to go ahead and arrest him or to detain him and to hold him there. Or we had some kind of legitimate thought that there could be criminality going on afoot. And thus we had legal justification for searching. It always becomes what did the officers claim they knew and what arguments can an attorney make? But at the end of the day, this person, I would expect them to sue the department for the civil rights violation here.
You talked about the Fourth Amendment right being violated. That's your right to due process. And you can argue, and I'm sure you can make a very good argument that there was a deprivation of that. And the police officers were well aware that this individual should have never been detained. What does that mean in a civil proceeding? What could actually happen to that police department, or what could that benefit the individual who launches a lawsuit?
Sure, so the Fourth Amendment is your right against unreasonable searches and seizures. So they have to have probable cause for the government to take you or to take anything that belongs to you. And the Supreme Court has chipped away a little bit at that doctrine by saying that there are instances in which you're not gonna have a full seizure, as in you're not gonna necessarily have someone handcuffed and they can't leave without their free will, that this is merely a momentary detainment for the officer's safety. And so these lesser degrees of detainment, they still invoke the Fourth Amendment and at least the doctrine that has come from that. And so that is the important part to focus on when it comes to what would be your Fifth Amendment due process rights. But when it comes to how it would work here in this situation, if this individual were to file a civil suit, what they would be suing on is a violation of their civil rights, that they do have those protections to not be in a situation where you're just walking the streets and the police maybe target you because of your race or because of your gender or because of some kind of protectable quality that you happen to hold. And it seems here that this man is definitely Black, and that the officers, regardless of their race or color, because as we know, white supremacy is what reigns in our society, that they are essentially infringing on his civil rights.
Yeah, and thank you for correcting me on transposing those constitutional rights. That's why you're the expert, Adrienne, and you're on the show to break it down. What possible reason would they have to go and search the car? I get it, I get the argument on the when we put them in handcuffs and search them for our own protection. But what does the car, the vehicle, have to do with it once they were aware that there's no actual criminality happening here?
Oh, well, once they're aware, they really don't have any justifiable cause to search the vehicle. But generally, it's a thought that because your car, it is in interstate commerce, it's moving, it's not like your home that's supposed to be your kingdom, that you have less of a right to, protect it in terms of not having it searched. But generally, when it comes to cars being searched, the thought initially is at least it's some kind of thought that there must be criminality going on in some form or fashion. And the thing is here, once they realize they had no probable cause whatsoever, that they had the wrong guy, that they also have no indicia of thinking that there is any kind of criminal behavior going on, they have no cause to search the car other than really kind of maybe racism a bit. So I'm sure the officers will claim, hey, well, we're just doing a safety sweep or whatnot. And it'll be a question for essentially people with legal minds to have to make their arguments.
Yeah, I hope this brother sues the hell out of them. So we will continue to watch the story and bring people updates as it develops.